What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful Sunday evening. Let's get into this Love and Marriage Huntsville recap, Season 9, Episode 6, These Lips Don't Lie. So it picks up right where the last episode left off with them at the pavilion doing Destiny's field day, and Martell he's crashing out. He is completely coming unhinged. He sees all these couples surrounding him. Even Destiny is there with Lance. You know what I mean? I feel like he's the only person that doesn't have somebody there. And my thing is, at this point, I don't understand why he doesn't bring Ariane Curry. But the way that Marsau and I guess the rest of the people talk about her, especially in this episode, they don't respect her. I feel like Martell doesn't respect her either. He called her a peasant to Dr. Francis during their therapy session. But I mean, here's my thing. You didn't want to be with Sheree Whitfield, and you essentially left your wife and your children for this woman, right? You guys have a child together, a son together. So at this point, 6 seasons in, or 9 seasons in, 6 years deep, just go ahead and, solidify things. Marsau was saying that he brought up his girl, and Martell's like, well, I don't have a girl. Okay, well, if you don't have a girl, then why are you spitting out your water and getting so upset when people bring her name up? When I tell y'all that Martell was on one, okay, he went after Tisha. He was trying to, shame her because he said that she slept with all his boys and he could have smashed if he wanted to, but he didn't want to. And then he went after Marsau. He said, essentially that Tisha saved him. He was like, you're fatter than you are now. You're uglier than you are now. And it's not funny, but it's the way that he said it, because nobody can take away the fact that Martell does take care of himself outwardly, right? Physically, the man has a nice physique. But in my opinion, that's the only nice thing about Martell. His attitude is trash. The way he treats people, the way he talks to people is just horrendous. And so, when he went to his car to get the phone, in my opinion, and I'm with, the rest of the content creators and people out there in the Love and Marriage Huntsville universe, if you're not going to name names like Monique said, then leave it on the playground, right? Because it's beyond old. It's beyond tired. Like Tisha got her ball, she got her stuff, and she went home. She's like, let me go be a mommy, right? Taking care of things that are important. And the fact that he's surrounded by all these couples who are solid in their marriage, with the exception of, like I said, Destiny and Lance, and even they walked off into the sunset together. Lance escorted Destiny back to her car. He was the odd man out, just ranting and raving, shaking his fist at the at the clouds. Like, Martell, either wife up Ariane Curry or, get with somebody else that's going to put up with your BS. I can't think of anybody else, especially since he done showed his whole behind on this show season after season. I'm wondering if he was compliant with the court's order for that psych eval. I would be really, really interested to find out what it said. Because one thing I can say I appreciate about Nick Cannon is the fact that he was transparent about his narcissistic personality disorder diagnosis. I really wonder if Martell, I was going to say have the courage, but not even that, just being compliant with the court order. I'm curious to find out. I know that's HIPAA and, his own private information, but like I said, I'm just curious to see the results, because he definitely shows signs of a malignant narcissist. But let's go on to the next scene. Speaking of possible narcissists, we have Marsau and Tisha. Marsau, he's someone who says that he, values his marriage essentially above all else, right? Like, his family means the world to him, et cetera, et cetera. His actions do not show that. And, from him not wearing his wedding ring, we've seen Tisha beg this man to wear this raggedy ring every single season. From him leaving her and the children to go to Africa by himself, to, Martell consistently saying that he slept with over 20 women while they were married. I do believe that Martell knows where the bones are buried. But again, if he's not going to bring it to the forefront, then he needs to just keep it to himself. But with Tisha and Marsau, him constantly gaslighting Tisha, because to me, if you're in a marriage, wearing your wedding ring is the bare minimum. Like, that's the least you can do. Like, you can't talk about how important, your children are, but you don't know that one of them has a peanut allergy and you're offering to make them peanut butter and jelly. Like, just basic, simple things like that. Like, the bar is in underneath the basement. He's a contractor, right? The foundation, sir, underneath the soil. That's where the bar is for you. Your wedding ring, that's the bare minimum. If I were Tisha, or if it was somebody else who had more of a backbone, this man would be on the couch until he decided to wear his ring. And listen, they're in their 40s. So there's only so many times you can be on the couch before your back starts to feel it. And it's like either your back or your finger, or we need to go see Dr. Francis or another therapist and unpack the real reason why you refuse to wear your ring. Because again, Martell, he doesn't say these things. I mean, he does to be inflammatory, but I feel like there's, truth to them. But the fact that she's begging him in this jewelry shop to wear this ring, and he's like, oh, that's a sign of obedience. And no, Negro, that's a sign that you're married. that's just, again, just the basic minimum. She's not asking you to do anything that most married couples don't do. Listen, if she like it, I love it, but Marsau gets on my nerves. And speaking of getting on my nerves, Chris Fletcher goes and talks with Marsau. I mean, Chris, in my opinion, I feel like he should have more of a backbone as well in regards to, defending his wife, showing up, being present. He's very, and I get being soft spoken, but there's a time and a place. And I feel like for him and Nell to always talk about how they're the mentors of the group, they're quiet. They have their head down the whole time in the pavilion. They didn't, stop anything that Martell was saying. They don't really show up. They're not really present for the show. I feel like they're kind of in the background still. They really should have stayed friends of, in my opinion. So speaking of friends of, the last scene is Melody meeting with Trish, and they are talking about going all these years back to when, Mel's trying to pump her for information about when she actually went to Martell's house to train with him, quote unquote, train. She was making a house call for a physical training session. I'm sure it was some physical training going on. But here's my thing. Here's what I want for Melody and Martell, right? I want them to move forward. Every other couple on this show, with the exception of maybe Marsau and Tisha, because like I said, she's still trying to get him to wear that raggedy wedding ring. I feel like she's going to do that until their dying breath, because he doesn't respect her or their marriage, in my opinion, and it shows up every day in his actions. I want Melody to find another man and move on. I want Martell to either, decide to marry Ariane, move forward in their relationship, or drop her and move forward. People, listen. I mean, the days are long and the years are short. The time is flying by. This is the last month of 2024. Do y'all remember when Cat Williams was sitting on the couch at Club Shay Shay and giving us the prophecy of all prophecies for the year? And he named Diddy specifically. He named TD Jakes specifically. He named, Kevin Hart, who's been having all kind of, issues and foolishness going on specifically. That was in January of 2024. It's the end. It's December 2024. I mean, it flew by, it seems like, right? I need them to move forward. Mel, why are you talking to Trish about something that happened years ago? She was trying to find out the month, y'all. She was like, what did the house look like and what did the driveway look like? And of course, Trish lies about everything. She is very vague. She's, mumble mouth. I don't think she's told the truth about anything since she's come on the show. She didn't tell the truth during their trip to St. Thomas. She didn't tell the truth. I don't think she tells the truth to herself, to be honest. This woman is somebody who has a husband and a boyfriend. You want to talk about living in delusion? She's deluded herself. She's definitely not going to keep it real with you, Melody. So listen, you know what your ex-husband was. You called him a hoe yourself. So I don't understand why you're pumping her for information about a physical training session that happened years ago. Baby girl, let it go. She was talking about how she was successful in business, which she is. Congratulations to Mel. The way that I would be out there dating, doing my thing, trying to find somebody else, like there's plenty of men out there. Talk to Quad. Miss Quad, she got it. Okay. She's like, my man, my man, my man. Like, she had all those celebrities on her TikTok live, Nick Cannon, and who else was on there? I don't know. It was a lot of different people, right? I know there has to be somebody, even if it's not in Hollywood, just a nice, business person or professional lawyer, doctor, whatever, that you can date instead of pumping Trish for information about your raggedy ex-husband. Now, see, here's the thing. It would be one thing if she decided to stay with Martell, like Nell Fletcher, like Tisha, like Kimmy, right? All these people, all these women are still dealing with men that have questionable past and questionable character, right? Melody, kudos to her. She decided, I'm not going to stay with a cheater, pumpkin eater. And she kicked him to the curb. So what does it matter? Trish is, she's finally divorced from her husband, now ex-husband. And, she's with Ken. But that would be my question to Mel. Like, girl, what does it matter? Which leads me to my final thoughts. I think that Melody is still in love with Martell. I really do. I know that Martell is still in love with Melody, which is why he won't marry Ariane or somebody else and move forward. But Melody, in my opinion, she's not only mad and embarrassed at him still that he essentially broke up their family. I feel like she still loves him. She wouldn't have cared. Like once you're over somebody, child, the way that if somebody told me that they dated one of my exes, I would be like, okay, why are you telling me? Like the way that I wouldn't care. But to Mel's point, she said that they were together for, I think, like 14, 15 years or something like that. And they were married for 12 or 13. So that's a significant amount of time to spend with somebody, right? And she said that they were together in college. And I think she said she got married at like 22 or something. So those are still, your prime years. I'm pretty sure she's probably really upset about that, right? That she gave her prime years to a man who just disrespected her and threw it out the window. But again, she's still in her 30s, her late 30s. She still looks great. She's a multimillionaire. There's no reason why she should still be hung up on Martell. I want Melody and Martell, to be honest, to go see Dr. Francis or somebody else. But to move forward. That's my motto for the rest of this year, next year, like moving forward, because the way that Project 2025 and the rest of, so many people want to move us backwards, we don't need to go back. We need to keep moving forward. So those are my thoughts, y'all. I want to hear from you. What do you think about this episode? It was decent. It was decent. I want to see more, though, from the cast. Like more building, more focused on building their businesses and advancement. That's what I want to see. Anyway, drop down in the comments, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.